As my head hits the pillow, I let out a sigh of relief. This is my 38th straight hour without sleep. My call room is in a trailer in a parking lot attached to CGH, a world-renowned medical and trauma center in Los Angeles. It's difficult to find words to describe this home away from home. Tissue paper-thin walls are complemented by a broken lampshade, an old desktop computer, and a TV with only 3 working channels. The relentless drone of freeway traffic right next door hits my eardrums and then bounces off the backs of my eyes before concussing off my frontal lobes. Numerous boluses of caffeine, along with lack of sleep, have triggered a triad of feelings. Dizziness, a pounding heart that makes us sound like horses running down the back stretch at the Kentucky Derby, and the same physical and mental aches I get when hitting mile 20 of a marathon. It's 1 a.m. Call finishes in 6 hours. I'm barely able to keep my eyes open, but unable to keep them closed because of multiple racing thoughts. An aura of delirium develops. While I stare at the ceiling, a bug comes into focus. A feeling of envy washes through my mind as I watch this 6-legged black dot slowly crawl toward the corner. Doesn't seem like he's under any pressure. No high expectations. He can walk upside down and seems to be able to rest anytime he wants. Am I going crazy? Am I psychotic? The bug makes it to its destination and disappears quietly into the night. Inside this 10-foot by 10-foot tin box, I rest and stare at the ceiling with my open eyes, trying to find the switch that will turn off the racing thoughts that have been hypercharged by this no-sleep marathon. With eyes closed, I say my prayers. Dear God, thank you for taking care of me. Please bless my dad, who, as a surgeon, has helped many people but now has Lou Gehrig's disease. Also, bless my mom in heaven. This reflection allows my eyes to grow very heavy, and I fall asleep. Perhaps 15 minutes later, a shrill beep, beep, beep goes off. The pager on the nightstand takes on a life of its own. It only makes 2 sounds, and the beep, beep, beep when it goes off, and a slightly different beep when its battery runs low. What an existence it has. To rudely make it sound whenever it wants, and then expect me to feed it, change its battery, whenever it wants. A blue-lit screen reads 7076. Within seconds, my other pager chirps. Another 7076. Next, the trauma phone rings. "Hello, Dr. Chollet," says the shrill voice of a secretary. "We have a trauma arriving in 6 minutes." Finally, my personal cell phone rings, and it's the hospital operator. "Dr. Chollet, we have a trauma coming in 6 minutes." Since I was sleeping in my scrubs already, I put on my socks, one inside out, and step into a pair of old New Balance sneaks. Quietly, the words "holy shit" pop out without apparent reason. In my attempt to wake up, I splash water from the bathroom faucet onto my face and neck. Staring in the mirror over the sink, barely recognizing the person staring back, I conclude this has to be a homeless person in scrubs. I'm unshaven, with partially combed, long black hair, with a few flecks of gray. Already? At 32 years old? Great. I'm half hoping my trauma patient arrives unconscious, because there's no way a sane, awake patient could keep a straight face when he or she saw me. Out the trailer, down 3 steps, white coat, stethoscope, beepers and phones all in tow, a new energy emerges that awakens the actions necessary for clarity, calm, and quiet eyes. After pressing Hoku points, I complete my transformation. I reach for my ID badge and keyless key, and then ponder the picture and the info on the badge. Name, rank, and serial number. Hilary A. Chollet, MD, FACS, Trauma Vascular Surgeon, Doctor number 1840. Is there additional info on that magnetic card? Maybe one's often mentioned but never seen permanent record? Entering the hospital with a single swipe of the ID badge, I review my hospital strategy. 3 rules. 1. Anything you say can and will be used against you. 2. No good deed goes unpunished. 3. Nice guys finish last. The hospital itself is a monolithic entity without a heart or conscience. Full of rules and administrative mandates, the hospital is not on the side of the doctor or the patient. It is on its own side. After entering, one sees a long corridor with bright lights, dingy walls with no artwork, and no sign of keeping up with the times. As I approach an intersection, out pops Janelle, a slim, dark-haired 22-year-old, very smart third-year medical student. She's nice-looking, with blue eyes, and offers the faintest smell of jasmine perfume. She asks, "What do we have?" Walking quickly, we are met by Henry, the surgery resident, who, having overheard, answers Janelle's question. "It's a shooting. A young kid with barely any vital signs." 7076 is how the page came across. 707 signifies a high-level, life-threatening trauma. 707 stands for the letters that accompany numbers on a phone pad. It translates to SOS, or Save Our Souls. 6 means arrival in 6 minutes. Henry also has been up for nearly 40 hours, but still in his 20s, he has good stamina. A big, muscular fellow, nearly 6'2" and 225 pounds, good-looking, blonde hair and black glasses. He was told to go into orthopedics. Last year in the ICU, he changed his mind after cracking the chest of some lady who had ruptured an aortic aneurysm. Luckily, he got her heart started again and called me. We were able to fix things and pull her through. She went home on Thanksgiving Day. After that, Henry was like a little puppy dog with his new family. No longer the ortho family, now the trauma vascular surgery family. Approaching the trauma room, we see the usual gallery of looky-loos hoping to get a glimpse of the potential carnage. Upon entering this 20 by 20 foyer of life and death via an internal corridor door, we are met by 2 LA Fire Department paramedics entering from the opposite side of the room and hurriedly pushing a stretcher. I jump into action with my usual greeting. "Hi guys, what do we have here?" Paramedics create order from disorder. Within the trauma room, there is a cadre of people along with the pulse of panic. Sometimes they work like a well-oiled machine, and sometimes like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, not so well-oiled. This orchestra of providers includes an anesthesia doctor, an emergency doctor, a representative from pastoral care, a nurse for the right side of the patient, a nurse for the left side of the patient, an X-ray tech, a CAT scan tech, and a person from the front desk who is a clerk waiting to ask the patient what kind of insurance he has. As the de facto maestro or captain of the ship, I feel this is going to be a Tin Man situation. Too much panic and tension. The paramedic gives his report. "Doc, I have a 16-year-old male who was shot twice in the belly about 17 minutes ago. He was briefly awake and alert. About 5 minutes ago he lost his pressure, and we were barely able to even feel a pulse." First I ask myself, is this young man going to live one more minute without my doing something extreme to save him? Answer, yes. Next question, will he live 5 minutes? Answer, no, we've got big trouble. In trauma it goes A, airway, B, breathing, C, circulation, D, disability, and E, environment exposure. After we secure an airway with a breathing tube down his throat into his windpipe, I listen with my stethoscope and hear a barely perceptible heartbeat. I'm happy to hear equal breath sounds, and then my hand goes to feel for a pulse in his groin. At most, it's a thready pulse that's difficult to feel, revealing a circulation problem. Shock from blood loss causes all of the blood vessels to constrict, except the ones to the brain and heart, a variant of the mammalian diving reflex. Dolphins have mastered this, but only the youngest of humans can muster such a response when cold or in trauma. Feeling with the tips of my fingers for his femoral artery in the left groin, I again feel the barely perceptible pulse. If this cord of arterial constriction were one of the strings of a violin, when plucked it would utter the D major sound of a cry for help, a sound heard when one is close to clinical death. With such a dire presentation, I make an immediate decision to go straight to the operating room. Out comes the trauma phone. I call the OR. "Dr. Chollet here. Warm the room to 90 degrees. We'll be in the OR with my patient in 3 minutes. Begin the massive transfusion protocol and call in the cell saver tech." An inspection of this young man reveals that he is very thin. The nurses remove his shoes and his clothes are cut off. Still in socks, I look at his right foot and see 2 dime-sized holes in his sock. As the humanity of this situation sets in, I feel like crying. A tingle goes up my spine, and I am reminded that I must remain strong. Interestingly, he does not have any tattoos. A quick exam shows what appear to be 2 large-caliber gunshot wounds to the abdomen. No exit points on a full turn and inspection of the back. A chest x-ray shows no retained bullets. An x-ray of the abdomen reveals 2 bullets in the lower quadrant. Ultrasound shows minimal cardiac activity. Within 2 or 3 minutes, the patient arrives in the operating room, where it is an entirely different circumstance. There's at least some degree of panic, with nurses getting ready and blood being brought into the room, but definitely this is my area, where things are much calmer. Once on the OR table, the patient is prepped with a sterile soap from his chin to mid-thighs. With his profoundly low blood pressure and signs of shock and internal blood loss, it is apparent to me that this 16-year-old male assault victim won't make it another minute if I don't do something extreme. "Give me a knife," comes out, just as the scrub nurse anticipates and slaps a number 22 scalpel into the palm of my hand. This is followed by a generous incision over the left 5th rib, skin and everything, straight through muscle, down to the rib. The left chest is entered, and a probing finger feels the barely beating heart. It is necessary to place a chest retractor between ribs 4 and 5. Akin to the jaws of life, this retractor has a handle that is turned. This causes the chest to crank open, creating a hole big enough for a hand to be placed to work on the heart. Experience tells me I only have 30 seconds or so, or this kid is going to box, die.
Head is the pillow, 38 hours awake. Tin wall car room where the freeway shakes. Broken lamp, bug on the wall. Close my eyes and I say it all. God bless my dad, bless my mom up above. Give me strength and hold me in love. Eyes grow heavy, but just for a while. Pagers cry, cuts through the night. First pager call. 7076. Save our souls tonight. Run through the hallway under pale white light, from the trailer to the trauma bay. God, give me calm to guide the way. Mirror shows a stranger, gray in my hair. Holy water from the sink, find my quiet stare. Badge swipe, hallway long and bare. 3 rules whisper in the air. Janelle's there waiting, bright-eyed and true. Henry steps forward, tired but new. Kids been 7076 save our souls tonight. Life in the balance under neon light, through the panic, through the gloom. God, steady my hands inside this room. Lord, I can't stop time, but you hold the line. Every beat, every breath, keep this boy alive. Quiet eyes, steady hands, let the fear unwind. You and I, God, we fight side by side. January 76 7076 save our souls tonight. Hope in the chaos, faith in the fight. Through the darkness, let your mercy